Ah, there we go. Okay, welcome everyone to the stream once again. Hope you're all doing well. Today we are gonna work on some refactoring. So what we will do is we will do some refactoring, and for each part, I guess, that we refactor, we are going to... Okay, that's fine. We're going to create a card. So we're going to be going over to our card creation document over here and creating a new card for the game in order to sort of spice things up a little bit, make it so that we're not just constantly doing refactoring. Now, it's not just really refactoring. We are going to be working on improving some of the code. Like, the code base isn't at the best standard that it could be. So we're going to be working on stuff, and I can already spot like something like this is actually really bad. And we'll be able to do a lot of other different improvements as well, hopefully. So we'll get right into it anyway. So for here then, what we want to do, so we get all these accounts. This could be much easier. So we're making this far more complicated than we should be. So this is before I actually knew of the, is it includes? Yeah, it includes. What about array includes? Yeah. So we can use the array includes. So what we want to do here, what we do is we say we look for each of a user's friends. Now actually this isn't something that we need to worry about now that I think about it. This will be something we work on later, since it's actually something we're not interested in just yet. So it's probably more just to do with the code base here. So for example here we should just really just write socket, and then for user 2 just write this, and then we can remove that. So let's just move this across. And here where we have user 2, we'll just do that. GameX.GameArray.pushGame, QArray.splice that should be fine. We seem to be relatively okay now. What is this part? This is the attack dual opponents. So if I use the damage, is this the best way of doing that? I think so. So we could revise this if statement here. So we should say if it's probably not that easy. So we could check in the same line here for if it's a spell or not. But that leaves us with a slightly more difficult way of doing this part, so I think this is actually okay as it stands. Then we do this, and we do that. Okay. We could have set this earlier on, I suppose. So, for example, this is the attack duel opponent. If the opponent is facing null, then we set them to ready. Perhaps we should do that anyway, like somewhere else, so that we're not just relying on it being called in this function. So that's probably, where is our waiting for opponent function? It is here. So dual choice submitted waiting for opponent, and have we got that in a different section then? Let's see. So if we do this, E, why is that not working? Let me just check something here. So oh damn, I just realized that they can do. That's interesting, I never knew we could do that. But this should still allow us to log in. So what I thought was the issue is that I was still connected to something else. I guess that's not the case. So are these... What's wrong here then? Oh, I think I need to restart the server. I think I loaded up the server beforehand, so it was trying to connect to the other database still. Yep. User 1 is not defined. Oh, okay, because we haven't got that. Right. So we need to go back up to our game object here. I guess we just write socket.username here. And this, whoops, here. So this should give us both of the usernames of the users. Let's, whoops, I'm clicking everything wrong today. What's going on here? Let's put that down. Alright. Alright. So we have this all... I keep whistling my S's. We have this set up. And we were looking to see... So we want this person to have a play and this person not to. So here, no playable cards waiting for opponent. So find no playable cards waiting for opponent. Okay. So here what we want to do is we want to call this waiting for opponent down here. Well, that's the socket.on. Okay, So what are we actually calling here? Reload hand? So if we're calling reload hand there with this playable as false, we do this. Yeah, we still need to do this. So no playable cards waiting for opponents. So when we call it this time though, so find reload hand. So that's null. We want it to be false. We want to find where that is false. So reload hand here. Right, so it's these two here then, isn't it? Yeah, at the start of the turn. So what we want to do request end Dueling Phase. Okay, this is where we need to also consider something else too. So if user playable is false, then we set them to true. Okay. So what we could do then is we can remove the line where we said user.ready is true. So if the opponent had nothing to play, where is this? Yeah, it was down here, wasn't it? If op.facing is null, we set the opponent to be ready. Well, we're kind of already doing that here, because we're saying if their op.face, yeah, so we should be able to remove this. We should be able to remove this line, and then we need to still emit reload hand, or do we? Why do we need to call reload hand here? I suppose that's okay. Hit this line of code since the rework and the installation of the board system. I could be wrong. I'm going to remove this line. It could be that that is a mistake that I pay for in the future, but I don't think that we actually ever do hit that. So I think we should just go ahead and make some cards at this point. Like, I mean, the code base isn't as bad as I first thought, which is obviously a good thing. Sort of looking over it, it's not too bad. Like, the worst part here is like all of these create elements and maybe a couple of if statements. I think we could probably do that. Should we go ahead and make some cards? What's this? This needs to be done twice because at some point we're putting two of these in the DOM, hence we need to remove two for a user sometimes. This needs to be working during refactoring to ensure that this is not required to be run twice. Okay. So at some point we are sending two waiting for opponents to people. So this is in the blocking phase. Why would we be sending two waiting for opponents to people? So if we comment this out and this out, do we ever like hit a position where this exists and is needed for? If so, that's something that we need to fix. So let's just restart everything here and see if this has ever hit, because I'm kind of hoping we never do hit this. So we'll just do this. This is good. Okay, so we can play that. We just attack this. Now I've forgotten which point. Oh, it's the blockers part, isn't it? User is not defined in game mechanics. Okay, this is good. So game mechanics line 81 here, because we're never getting the user and the opponent, so where we call empty blockers here, I would assume we need to pass through the user and the opponent, and that will simply fix that issue up. Okay, that's just due to a fix I made yesterday. Well, what I hope is a fix at least. Because the way we had it figured was that the blocking array was a global. That conflicts with having more than one game happening at one time. So we don't want that. So now let's see if we have any blockers end turn issues here. We didn't. Okay. Damn. What is up with these hands today? These are terrible. Okay, so we've both got 4 drops, and what I'll do is I'll attack with one of these. Waiting for opponent to declare blockers, so if I block that, end blockers phase. That all works out, so it doesn't seem as though that's needed. Hey Radman867539, welcome to the stream, hope you're doing well today, thank you for popping in. How's it going? Yeah, it seems as though this second call is not required at the moment, but I guess this will be a case of I need to check whether this is the case. So let's call this now in a to check. If there is ever a case in the blocking phase, whoops, during testing, where there are more than one WFO divs being displayed, this line of code is needed, in as much that it that we need to find out why this is the case. This line of code is temporary, and I'm leaving it here since I'm not sure if this will pop up again. I mean, like, it's just there at the moment in case I'm like, why is this happening? And I get to here and I hit this. Okay, we're in a pretty good spot apart from that, from what I can tell. Do we have any, like, to-do calls here? Oh, I do. Why do I have to-do calls? Later on we'll be grabbing user data from the database, and this should be the point. Okay, that's fine. And the other to-do? Change this once we have the action phase set up, since it can be possible that the user may want to deal damage, weapon damage and spell damage to the opponent. Right. So this literally says at the moment then, if the user.board.length is 0 and the op.board.length is 0, then we call end turn. Is this ever being hit? Because I don't feel like it is. I feel like at the moment what we're doing is we're just going straight through every single notch of the other phase. Now, what this is basically telling me is if I'm not facing anything and my opponent's not facing anything, we should really do a user.ready is false here as well, because this could be the case where this is also set to true. and if the board length is 0 as well as this, so whoops, wrong thing. So let's give this a go. I don't believe we're ever making that the case. So test. Let's have a C here. No. We could actually just keep this hand. Oh, and of course we get the 1 drop. Damn. How unfortunate. Oh, I keep forgetting that we've got the concede function now. I can just quit out of the game, can't I, rather than just loading it back up again every time. Huh. What a convenient feature. Okay. Okay, let's do this. That's just annoying. There we go, end duel phase. And then we go to submit attackers. So we haven't got an op-dot facing here. So we end the duel phase. Now we're saying here if user.board.length is 0 and the op.board.length is 0. So theoretically, oh, hang on. This is creating so many new questions. Like, mainly, why is this line of code even in here? And secondly, why is it never being hit? So, attack duel opponent. So once we've finished dueling the opponent, if the op is facing nothing and the user is facing nothing, then we do this. But here we've got this if user board length is 0 and the op board length is 0, which is the case that we hit over here. Then we do this. That is very interesting. Where were we? Why are we never hitting this? Because we hit this end duel phase, right? So if I just call a console.log of hitting here as expected, and I'll just do a quick console log here just in case we are actually doing this and I don't even realize. I don't believe we hit here. And let's have a little look. Okay. We'll close that one quickly. Welcome to anyone new to the stream, by the way. Hope you're all doing well today. Today we're just doing a little bit of testing stuff out and working on some new cards after this. We will be working on some new cards for the game. Hopefully that'll be a bit more of an interesting stream than we've had recently, where we've just been bug fixing time after time. So we hit this end duel phase there, but we've not hit the line that I think I hit. Okay. So let's console.log here then. Perhaps we hit here. And it makes sense we hit here. And we can see what's happening exactly. Now, why am I calling this? Oh, right, no, don't worry. What we'll do then is we'll restart the server and re-execute the clients. Why do I feel like re-execute is really a wrong way of saying things? Am I playing myself? Yeah, I am. I think that screws things up, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that really screws things up if I'm playing against myself. I should have probably realised that I'd signed in on the same account a bit sooner. But if you have any questions about the game, guys, feel free to ask. I plan on getting something set up soon to help out with confusion. What? We're never hitting any of this. Whoa, what? So if the op.ready is true, we do this stuff. And that ends down here. And what you're telling me is we don't hit anything here. Well, actually, anything... No, anything here? No, that can't be true. Like, if I comment this out, then surely we get some form of just block in the game. But it doesn't make sense at the same time because of the fact that we are never getting a console log. And that console log would be server side. What? That's crazy. Why do I have this code here then? So are we ever calling attack dual opponent? No, we must be. Yeah, because we're updating the void here, aren't we? But we're never hitting this here or here. Oh, is it because we return here? No, because we would never return there. Well, let's just call a console log here then. Test. Just to ensure that we're actually hitting all of this. Because this is news to me. I thought that all of this stuff would be getting hit at some point. Okay, then here, this is where it gets a bit screwy then. Oh, I'm an idiot, that's why. I'm an idiot. So this is all if we are... Yeah. This is obviously if someone, oh man, is actually killing a minion. For some reason I got it into my head that that was just in general. That's always like hit every time. Which isn't the best idea I've had for a while. Or best logic. So actually, yeah, we wanted to be able to face stuff again here, didn't we? So we hit, perhaps we hit here, and hitting here as expected. So actually I see why we're never hitting this point now, we're never hitting this point because we've just killed something. So the logic that nothing would be on the board is irrelevant, basically. So yeah, we just get rid of this if statement and just do this stuff. Okay. So we'll just have a double check here that this hasn't broken anything. But this should fix up some issues. And let's have a double check that that is actually the case. So yeah, we need to actually be facing something here, so we'll put this minion out. And there we go. So yeah, everything is working fine. Back to how it was. Let's just see if both users face something, that we don't suddenly hit an unexpected error because of it. No. Okay. That is a refactor. That is a refactor. I didn't think that I'd actually managed to refactor anything today, but that has given me a little bit of work. But what we'll do now then, because we've had so many streams lately where it just feels like I'm bug fixing and bug fixing and bug fixing, which I know is just so boring, we're going to make some cards. And this is basically leading into what we're going to be doing in the next week. Like today we're going to create a load of cards, just because that's what I feel like doing as my first day back at work after, you know, like the 2-week break pretty much. And we're gonna basically hit this point now today where I'm just gonna be like, I am so tired. So we're just gonna make some cards. I fancy just doing that on stream today, and it's just like, hey, well, you know, let's just show some of the cards that we've made so far as well. So I've made 25 cards. We're gonna go through those in a moment, and then actually I thought we were going to do a lot more refactoring, but I think we're going to probably be ahead of what my what I imagined it to be. So I think we're going to start working on card mechanics tomorrow. So I'm going to half implement some of these cards because hey Hefu, by the way, sorry, I was mid-sentence. I'm going to basically just implement the mechanics behind them. So there's like on-board entrance, on-board death and stuff like that. And I want to be able to start saying, if this card has this mechanic, do something. And that's going to be quite fun, quite interesting, I suppose. So we'll see what happens with that. And we may at some point, because things are going to start getting a bit like, whoa, why did that happen? Kind of thing. We might have to do a play history. So like a card history like you have on the left hand side in Hearthstone, or I can't remember where any of them are in other games actually. I think they're mainly on that left hand side now. It seems to be the designated zone for the history. So we're going to be working on that. But as I say, today we're just going to chill and make some cards. So I'm going to try and hit as many mechanics as possible, basically, with the cards that we make today. So this is just my template for the moment, so we'll go through this. Oh, is that how I was planning to do it immediately? Okay. But basically in our game here we have 4 major classes here. We have the Druid, we have the Healer, we have the Magi, or Magi, people get really tilted however I say it, and we have Vampiric. So like where Hearthstone as a counter would have like 9, we have 4. Magic has like 4, but you can clash some classes together. I'm not 100% sure, but we've got 4. And the first few cards here then, let's go through. So my challenge last week was to make odd mana cost, or not mana cost really because we don't use mana, odd cost cards. Hey Adam, how's it going? Good luck with the stream today. So yeah, we've made some cards, and we're going to... Yeah, and so, yeah, my task was to make odd ones. So, starting with Druid, yeah, I haven't figured out all of the names yet, but some of them I have. Like here, I just had this vision of this weapon, because it's some kind of like porcupine or hedgehog type creature, where it equips a 1/1 weapon called the Wrong Quill, and I could just in my head see this guy sort of stabbing himself with a quill, thinking it's one to write with or something. I don't know, I'm a bit like that. I just like slapstick, I guess. I don't know. But this thing also deals damage when it's dealt damage. So when you hit this, it's like a double hit. You basically do like 6 things. I highly suggest Excel or Google Sheets for this tracking. In terms of card stuff, there is something on the way with that, which I was planning out last night. In terms of actual cards as well, that's probably going to be fairly similar. Yeah, I'm not going to reveal spoilers, but yeah, I've got that all covered pretty much, I think. And it will be available to the public, hopefully later on this week. So we have a few interesting mechanics, I think. There's a couple of different ones. So, for example, here, this flock of crows has something called Swarm, 3 times 1/1. So when this thing dies on the board, it's a 2/2 for 3 mana. Like, I obviously need to do balances, like 3 times is probably a bit too much, but when this dies, it brings out a swarm of 3 1/1s, and it drops 2 gold here. And we've got a few different mechanics, like here, this sweep attack. It will deal damage to minions either side of the minion that you target. So, or, well, it's not the minion that you target, would it? It would be the minion that blocks this, or the minion you block with this, which actually could be OP, so I need to consider that. We've got Stomp here, which basically means when it enters the board. So if you guys have been keeping up, you'll know that obviously you don't just play a card. Stomp 2 basically means when it enters the board, deals 2 damage to everything around it. Like some gorilla type creature, I just imagined it going ballistic. And then here we've got this mechanic which is Wounder 4. So at the start of every turn after a minion that was damaged by this... What am I talking about? At the end of a turn, at the end of every turn that you've been hit by this minion... This is really a really bad explanation. Okay, so let's say I attack with this minion and I hit you in the face. For the next 4 turns, you'll take an extra 1 damage at the start of that turn. In like wound damage, like almost like a bleed effect. So that's all the druid cards pretty much sorted for, well, not sorted, but these are the 5 that I thought up. Wasn't my best day of thinking up cards, so these are probably a bit messy. We then move on to the healer, which kind of had me a bit more... You know, this caught me on a good day, I think. I quite like most of these minions. And I find it funny because healing classes in games, I find, are either massively underpowered, and they just have nothing that's playable, Hearthstone, or they're just really overpowered, like, oh, I can heal for 1,000,000, so screw this game. I'm just going to wait until turn 5,000 and kill you. But I'm trying to go for something in between. I'm not trying to make it so that their only function is healing. This is what I imagine to be like the more human class, I suppose. As it's kind of the way in most other games actually with healing. But this one here, like the Chambermaid, it's got this mechanic called Rallying. So you'll see Rallying down a few of these healer cards and a few of another couple of cards in like Magi, where Rallying basically means if there's another of this type, so human, on the board, it will gain +1/+1. So for example, this is a 1 mana 1/1, but this is both in the dueling phase, so pre-board, and during the board phase that this will get buffed. So that's kind of like a new mechanic where the duel is going to be set up a bit more interestingly. So for those of you new to the stream, what I'll do is I'll give you a quick taste of what we're doing here. I'm going to put one on one screen and one on the other screen just because things get a bit confusing if you're looking at me to control both players at the same time here. So ignore the atom art. What we're actually trying to do at the moment is just get the fundamental play game mechanic done. So what we do is PogChamps, I know. We have as you see 2 hands, left and right. No, we have the Minion Hand and the Utilities Hand, as it is called. You start off with 50 health and a base attack of 2 with no gold, no weapon and no armor. You're thrown into the battlefield. You are given the minions from your opponent's deck, so they know and you know what you're going to have on your board and duel in the game. Now, dueling is what separates Soul Sorcerers from any other CCG. You know, I say that, and it may be a big claim. There may be another CCG out there that does something similar, but dueling is a concept I came up with a couple of friends actually. They were saying, "Oh, you know what I quite like." So instead of talking about it, let's show it off if I can get the right mulligans for it. So no pressure. Yeah, we did it. Okay, so you can't see it, but the other person also has a 1 cost minion. Now this here references the cost. I've put that through already, but say this 5 cost here, that is basically referring to the turn number. So if the turn was turn 5, I could play this 5 drop, or I could play the 1 drop, but I'd have to play one of them. That's a really big thing. You have to play a card for your opponent to face. So as you can see here, we submitted the dual choice, so I'm going to quickly pop this other 1/1 onto the board. Now this is where it gets a bit confusing because you can't tell which one's which, but I need to show like a better way of illustrating this. So the opponent has just picked up this to face, which I set them. So the 1/1 that I played from this hand is now what my opponent is facing. This 1/1 here, and this is why we have this base attack. Now we could equip a weapon, so you can see here like this 3 cost weapon here that adds 3 attack and has 2 durability. It would put our attack up to 5 basically, so I could one-shot a 5 cost card or a 5 health card, and that's really important because in this dueling phase, the last state before death of a minion is the stat line it will have on the board. So going back to this example of using this 5 drop, if I hit the 5 drop once with my 2 attack, I would take 5 damage and it would go down to a 5/3. If I attacked it again, I would hit it and it would go down to a 5/1. And then I'd hit it again and it would go to a 5-1, but the 5/1 is the stat line it would summon onto our board for. The dueling phase is something which I need to try and think of the best way possible to describe it, and then just annotate a video of what's going on, because I understand fully that this phase is a bit complicated, and it's what I think it is brand new to the CCG genre. Did you switch from love to electron? This is a different game concept, everyone. No, not everyone. EJ. I should call you EJ. I'm learning the way of the streamer with your name. Yeah, this is a new card game concept. The last one was like a MOBA concept, but I still managed to somehow fit my neon coloured squares into the game. Some of these mechanics. Yeah, that's basically what I'm aiming to do, Adam, in the next couple of days. Like, yeah. Finally mod your biggest fans. It'll go a long way. Yeah, we've got a couple of people that are really like saying I'm sticking around because I really like the concept, which like it makes my day when people say that. Yeah, so I am obviously going to be looking at modding people in the channel because there's been so many people actually coming back. So yeah. Yeah, basically that, Hefu. And the classic board phase is a Magic the Gathering style one. So where you could, where you declare attackers and then you block, etc. So yeah, you could even do the documentation on stream. Alright, I need to get going. Okay, see you, Adam. Thanks for popping in today. But yeah, just so you guys will know as well, we will be working on something. I don't know if I'll do it on stream, just purely because I'm boring to listen to most of the time. But yeah. Mod Walshy. I feel like that's a reference to something I should know, but I don't. I hate this channel. Okay. Bye, Mark. I mean, hello. Yeah, so that's the basics of the dueling phase down. This is something which I will, as I say, be putting into video and onto like some form of wiki as soon as possible. So that's something I need to do in my spare time rather than just sitting around doing nothing. So here, what we'll do then is I'll just attack this, because on both of these, all we want to do is just attack that. And I really need to do that attack opponent thing has the mouse cursor, because every other button does, and it's really tilting me. So we just end the duel phase now. So I can click that over there and over here. And here we have our boards. So again, it's hard to see where exactly this came from, but this card here was the one that we beat. And this card here is the one that he beat. Now remember those stat lines, so whether we took out the 5/5 with this average weapon, like I was referring to when we were talking about this 5/5, if I took it out with the average weapon, that means my attack is 5, and I kill it. And that is opposed to taking the 10 damage, but also only having a 5/1 on board that could be blocked by a 1/1. So, yeah. The joke was Adam modded some fellow streamer called Walshy after he was in the channel for like 3 days, whilst Waters had been in the channel for months and did a bunch of wicked stuff for Adam and he got majorly offended. Waters is a mod now, right? I'm fairly sure he is. I get confused now. There's too many different things. Prefixes to names. It's just, yeah, it's too much for me. Too much for my small mind. So we can choose whether or not we want to attack with these. And what I haven't also shown is that there's spells in the game. So these cost your gold. And at the moment, again, these are all just placeholder minions. So like we've got all the stat lines are like 5 cost, 5/5, 7 cost, 7/7, etc. But there will obviously be, as is shown here in the design document, something different. But you can deal damage to minions with these spells either in the duel phase, or you can save them for the board phase, so you can take out your opponent's minions using these. That's, again, up to you. So there's that. What I do need to implement at one point, which is probably going to be soon, hopefully, is... well, I think I'm going to implement it. I'm not 100% sure yet, because I don't know how it would balance. But if you don't face a duel opponent, you can equip a weapon and just hit it. Is this just a concept game, or are you planning on polishing and releasing it? I'm hopeful, is the answer. I'm hopeful that in about a couple of months I might be able to release a build for some alpha testers who can then say, you know, who can basically then say, is this actually going to be like a playable game? Is this something which is actually going to, you know, be good? And I want people to be honest there, so I will be picking people like, not just that go, I love your game and I will slurp on your bottom like it's chocolate milkshake. What I'll just do is I'll just, you know, get people that will give me an honest opinion of what they feel of the game and go from there. It's kind of a concept, but one that I do plan on polishing and maybe releasing. You know, I'll have a see. And if anyone is interested in testing the game in alpha, etc., in the next couple of days on the same thing, like basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a site off stream to host all of the information for the game. Sort of like a placeholder site before the actual game comes into full flow. And I'll be putting information up there. I'll be putting cards for people to like vote on and say, hey, I kind of like this card, but I feel like it could do with 1 extra gold, or I think this card's too overpowered. Don't give it charge and summon it automatically when there's a pirate on the board. If you can somehow get people that have never seen the game before at all, I find that those give the most relevant feedback. Yeah, that's probably very true, Hefu. And there's also the difficulty because, like, you have to... With this game, I find myself having to explain a lot of different things, and there's always, like, a feedback question that people ask. Like, for example, when I was explaining that, and you asked me a question, it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, I need to find the best way possible of explaining it and just capture it and just go, Pugh. You want information? Here, have this link. So, yeah, that's something which I'm going to be working on off stream. So, yeah. But yeah, in the meantime, if you guys are interested, feel free to pop me a whisper or whatever. I don't think my whispers are open now I think about it, though. You can always just sell out. You can always just follow on Twitter and just tweet at me as well. So that's just @Sorcerers, the same as the name of the Twitch channel. But yeah, that's the main kind of concept behind the game, and I'm hoping something will come of it. I think that it's relatively unique, but maybe it's not niche enough, or maybe it's too niche. Like, some people would say, well, why do we have this point? And, you know, I can't really say to them, well, I wanted it. You know, that's not really an answer. What the answer is, you know, I feel like playing minions onto a board is just so linear. Despite the amount of different possibilities, etc., I still find it so linear. But this adds so much extra, I feel. But that would be my opinion, and it's my game. So my opinion is invalid on my own game. But yeah, if you have any more questions, by the way, about any of the game, the stream, the code, etc., feel free. But yeah, to sort of go off of what you said earlier as well, EJ, this is all JavaScript and Node stuff with Electron. But the test site which I'm currently using, the Heroku, is it works in the browser as well. But I don't particularly want it to be browser based, because people would just be like, browser game, where's my exe? So yeah. For a game like this, you can probably get a lot of good info from people experienced in card games, as it might be too complex to jump into blindly for someone that isn't in... Yeah, that's why I fully agree on Hefu, and that's why it's so difficult, because the CCG market is so saturated, where you've got games like Faria and stuff like that are coming onto the scene. And obviously you've got the big games like Magic and Hearthstone. And it will be very tricky to get people, because the thing is, you have to pay people to play the game, basically. Like, especially really experienced people. And, you know, I can't be doing that. But maybe there's some form of platform where I can say to people, hey, you play Hearthstone, do you want to come and try out my game? Or just any other game as well. Hearthstone's my go-to because it's the main CCG I've played. But, yeah. I thought this has turned into an IRL stream rather than actually just the coding, etc. We were going to try and make some cards today. I think we will do that in a moment, but I got to like in the discussion about everything as well. Because people just shooting ideas is always appreciated, and I try and take everything in as well. Apart from this coffee, because this coffee is now freezing cold. Discussion about everything. If you have any kind of meetup / convention you can attend locally without too big costs, yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking at. I'm looking at Insomnia, which I've been to a couple of times. I'm looking at possibly trying to get there as a dev, and just trying to do exactly what you've said. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what the future holds, because we never know. We never know. So yeah. So we'll probably have quite a big amount to do off stream here with like the card ideas and all of that. So I might just go ahead and just go off stream now and just build some stuff up. I might just do a GitHub wiki, which I'm fairly sure is possible. I'm not sure how to use it, so I won't do it on stream because, yeah, if I don't know how to do something, then there's no chance of it being streamable. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll actually have a more structured stream, and we'll be looking at implementing card mechanics, and the GitHub will have like information on the game, which I can just link to people now. I might try and also do some kind of video to explain everything properly, as well as the bug testing as well. There's so much to do. Why do I have a job? God damn it. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to call the stream here, and I think that's about it. You'd be surprised how interested people are in watching others learn new tools. Like, do you guys want to see GitHub then? I've never even used GitHub. Do you want me? Should I just keep streaming? Like I'm not exactly an entertainer. I'm more of just a, I will do this if you want me to. Sign up for GitHub. Okay. I also need to check my emails very quickly here. I didn't get anything. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and do this then. I just need to do everything quickly here off stream in terms of setting my stuff up. Okay. 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 Yeah, we'll give it a go on stream. Not to force you if you don't feel like it. Just wanted to point out that things are, you might find. Okay, we'll give it a go then. GitHub wiki set up. Every GitHub repository comes equipped with a section for hosting documentation called a wiki. So let's start a project here then. I didn't want to show that on stream particularly. That doesn't matter. Hey Yup, how's it going, man? Thanks for popping in again today, by the way. Much appreciated. Keep my email address private, please. Okay. So let's reload here. Okay. So here we go. Start a project. All right. Good to hear. Good to hear. So repository name Sorcerers. So we'll make it public. Initialize this with a readme. This will let you immediately clone the repository tree on computer. Okay. Wiki. Here we go. Create the first page. So home. Yeah, I guess we can call this. We'll just call this main. I guess. So this is the place where you can find out. Well, no, we don't need to tell them that this is the place that they can find this out. So we'll probably just create this for now. So we have home and main, and okay. So if we just delete this page and we just have the home page, we'll set a new page then. So what we will have is we will have a page for what do we have? So we have the game, getting to know Sorcerers. It's really a GitHub landing page using GitHub pages, so it'd be soulsorcerers.github.com and link to the project wiki from there. Yeah, that might work. So Sorcerers is a partially synchronized. No, I forget what the word is. What is it when I'm doing a wiki for information and also for cards that I'm going to be putting out and seeing what people think of it. Yep. So I'm basically making a place where people can just go. I can just link people and say this is what the game is roughly. That's the main aim here. So is a new dawning of the CCG era. The aim of the game, as with any CCG, is to eliminate your opponent through a mixture of weapons, spells, and minions, and powerful creatures. Minions, we should call them minions, and powerful minions that will Okay. As an CCG is to eliminate your opponent through a mixture of weapons, spells, and powerful The game adds new mechanics, not only to the cards, but to the CCG aspect itself, providing what is known as the Dueling Phase, a new concept which at first may seem overwhelming, but as you grow accustomed to it, is a powerful new aspect to the game. I don't like this. Sorcerers is a CCG based on improving the current genre. Improving the user experience. I don't know what the correct phrasing here would be. Many aspects of different games with extra twists around every corner. I don't know. It's a powerful. So the game adds new mechanics not only to the cards but to the CCG aspect itself, providing what is known as the Dueling Phase, a new concept which at first may seem overwhelming, but as you grow accustomed to it, is a powerful new aspect to the game. Is a powerful aspect, not new aspect to the game. Powerful aspect to the game. At the start of the game, each user is presented with two decks, a Minions deck and a Utilities deck. The Minion deck, which you are presented with, is what your opponent has put together and aims to take you down with. Aims to utilize to create a powerful presence on the board while rewarding them with buffs, effects, and extra attack and extra utilities, and gold for extra utilities. Your opponent is also given your deck, so you may never know. So although you Okay. Your opponent is also given your deck, so although you know the inner workings, the exact timing of each card is all down to the will of your enemy. After the mulligan phase is complete, you will then experience the game-defining aspects. Is it game-defining? I just guess we call it the dueling phase. No. If your opponent has a minion which has a cost of less than or equal to the current turn number, they can they must set it for you to face. In the hope that it will cause it will aid them in whittling down your health bar. So yeah, this is basically what that part does. They must set it for you to face in the hope that it will aid them in whittling down your health bar. As you do the same, you must consider whether or not the opponent has a fresh way of dealing with it. If it will help them to afford a spell to clear your enemy, your own minion, or whether it will aid you on your path to glory. The duel will go on, will go ahead, and you will face the minion your opponent has provided you with. If you have defeated enemies previously, you may have scraps of gold. You may have pillaged gold to play either spells or weapons to help you to take down the minion. You will need to consider more than just whether you can take more than just how much damage you take. We should probably just do this. You take in order to have the minion summon down onto your board, but also how much health the minion has. Any minion which you defeat will be summoned onto your board in the state before it would in the state with the stats it had just before it died. So let's give an example here. If you have dealt, let's say if you've dealt 5 damage to a 5 health minion, for example, it will summon onto your board with all 5 health that it originally had. However, if you had to waltz your way around killing it, dealing 3 with your first hit and 2 with your last, it will summon as a measly 2 health creature. This is a major part of the game, since it will define your board with which you aim to overwhelm your foe. Once both sorcerers have completed the task, the duel even, the board phase begins. Here you must first declare any attackers which you may wish to push damage to your foe's sorcerer with, your enemy's sorcerer with. After this, you have a chance to play weapons or spells from your utilities deck with which to take down members of your opponent's board. The final stage is to declare the minions which will block the damage that attacking minions had planned for you, some of which may be lethal blows. We don't really need to say that. Block the damage that attacking minions. Declare those on your side of the board which will block the damage that attacking minions had planned for you. The first person to the opponent would the player that manages to leave their opponent on 0 health or less will claim victory. The loser left questioning where it all went wrong. If you need any more information, to do with any of these phases of the game or the minions in question, feel free to consult the rest of the wiki or ask any direct questions on our Twitter page at Sorcerers. Good luck out there. Okay. So I guess what we would do is we would need to have each phase as a separate section on the wiki, but also, how do I do this thing? It says add a custom. I don't know. What's pulse? Oh, okay. But yeah, so this will be the wiki that we'll be using for now. And I will hopefully get this all sorted. I'm going to do it off stream now. But thank you for everyone who came out to watch today. It's much appreciated. And I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. We'll probably try and make a few cards on stream. And I'll hopefully be able to reveal the full extent of this. I assume that you guys can probably just go to here and see me as I develop on it. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Goodbye.